Welcome to Serenity Education channel. Sorry for being late some few minutes. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for me if you have not done so. And those of you who have done that, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. I really appreciate a lot. Right. Today we are going to focus on database, and we will try to solve more questions regarding database. I'm going to share the link with you in the comment section, the data file that we are going to use today. Right, now before that, we'll go through some of the topic outline, the database topic outlines as a grade 12 learner, what you should know regarding database, so that next week you'll be prepared for some of these questions. Right, the first one will be database concepts, focusing on tables, fields, records, also looking at the data types, primary key. Then with the tables, creating table and editing tables in datasheet formatting, as well as the design view. Setting data types and fields using design view. And then input mask, validation rules, and default values. We will be looking at also required combo box and then calculations in table. So basically, this is what is expected from you regarding database table. Now, when it comes to queries, mostly you'll be given a question about 3 queries. You'll be given a question about 3 queries, whereby you need to create at least 1 or 2 queries, and then the third query, or possibly could be 2 queries, you need to modify them. Now you create queries, that's the select queries, where you put the criteria, like between, greater than, less than, using the and, or, and then wildcards. We are going to look at that today also. Sorting in queries, calculations in queries, and also totals and aggregate functions like sum, AVG, count, min, max, and others. So we'll be looking at this also. So this is what is expected from you. Then from there, then you go to forms. Regarding forms, questions related to creating or modifying forms, adding controls like combo box, labels, text boxes, and others. Also navigation buttons, using action buttons like next record, saving a record and saving forms, data validation in forms, input mask also in forms, conditional formatting also can be found in forms, and lastly, calculations in forms. Yeah, calculations in forms, you must also expect that type of questions. Right, then the last one will be report, which is mostly the last question, and then creating a report, grouping and sorting, adding totals and summaries, then also another grouping with the group options. And then totals and summaries, reporting, formatting like the header, footer, and then adding images in the logo or the logo there, data validation, and then input mask is also there. Right, then the last one will be exporting or importing data into database. So basically, for a database that contains 35 marks, the total marks always 35, and you should be able to complete database questions within let's say 40 minutes. 40 minutes, you should be done with the database at least. Right, so we will start and then join me to get access to the files. Now, I will share the link, or even if you have the grade 12 papers, that link. We have been dealing with a spreadsheet. Then you also see database files. I'm going to give a color to it. Right, so this database file, that's the one we are going to focus on today. I'll copy the link and share. Right, I share the link right now with you. So I'm going to download it as well, and then we start. Right, we are going to straight away start from um, we are going to start from the table. Just give me a few minutes. I think my network. I'll be with you in a few minutes, but before that, as I'm busy downloading them. So that we can start. Yes, I'm done. So we can start. You can also join me by downloading it as well. Right, now when you open that folder, you will see all the data sample database questions, and then you see the question paper. I will arrange it there for you also. You'll see the question papers here. So I'm going to start with database table questions. Right, like I've already explained, database consisting of 4 objects with tables, queries, form, and then report. Then regarding the database data types, one thing that you must take note is this one, which is the attachment and OLE object. They mostly ask questions on attachment and then OLE object. That is to insert objects like images and then videos, that's multimedia documents. Then attachment to attach similar files can be email attachment, or it could be any other files that you want to attach. So you need to study these data types. First part of the question, they will ask you these questions to change the data types also. Right, and then the lookup wizard for combo box. Then we also have the data sheet view. What do we have to do under the data sheet view? When you open data sheet view, that's the activating the totals command, which allow us to do calculations like average, sum, count, max, and then minimum. Under the data sheet view also, we can sort and filter. Then we can delete and insert new records. We can also change background and alternate colors. We can also change cell effects and then change the row height and column width. So basically, this is what can be done in data sheet view. They can ask you questions over there. Then the design view, that is where we get access to edit the table and create the table or form or any database object. So there in the table, we set the primary key, changing the field size, formatting it, changing input mask, decimals, default value, required combo box, validation rule, and validation text, and then also index. So this is what we will be required to answer questions on in terms of database tables. Right. So let's start. Before I come to this criteria, this is the validation criteria. I'll come there, whereby when it's talking about date, you say between, especially if you know the start date and then the end date. You say between the first date. You don't have to worry yourself to put the hashtag. It will be there automatically. And also the age, like numbers, if you know the start number and then end number. This is what you do between. Then we also have null. Null means empty. Like those who do not have cell phone number or email address, we say null. And then not null means not empty. Those who have something in that particular field. Then this particular one, which is very, very important also, which is the, we call it not, which is excluding. So when you use the greater than and less than together, we call it excluding. That is not. And then the wildcard, we'll also be using it more often. The asterisk, when you use wildcard. So I'm going to solve more questions on this. Then the input mask table, you get all of them here in this particular document. So join me so that I start the first question. I'll try and pick 2 or 3 questions regarding table. Then from there, I move straight to queries and then report. And then also I wrap up with the form. Right, so I'm going to open 4Com Club database. Or you same as the 3Com Club. Right. Now this question says add the horizontal and vertical grid lines in datasheet view. Right. Now when you open database first, you will see it this way. And this is the table. And this is the query and then form. Now we need to open the club member. So you double click. And this is the datasheet view. Now, whenever you are formatting in datasheet view, what you need to do when they say format cell, that means you are going to change the colors and others. So to format them, you can use tell me what to do, or you go to text formatting. You click on this arrow. Like I said, in examination, use the easiest way or the shortest time to accomplish your work. So here, when they say change the background, you can say format. Or you can say text formatting. Right. Format cell. Format cells. Or you go to cell formatting. Now it will give you data sheet formatting. Or like I said, you can also use the text formatting and you click on this arrow. So here, this question is telling us to add the horizontal and vertical lines. So horizontal and vertical lines are already added. So meaning maybe this question was modified already. So if they say remove the horizontal line, you just click on this to remove it. And we also have other properties like the cell effect, like raise or sunken. They can ask you questions on that. Also, you can change the background colors here, both the background and alternate background color, as well as the grid line colors. Right. Then the next question also says change the property of the date field so that the user has to enter. We will come there. Still under the data sheet, you can be given a question to change the row height. So let's say we want to change this row height to 25. You right click, you see row height, and then you type 25. It will change all the rows, the height dimension for you. And then also the column width, you just right click, you see column width, or we call it um, field width. You can just also change it. Then also in data sheet view, they can give you a question to sort. Let's say we are sorting according to members. You select members, there's an arrow next to it, then you see A to Z or Z to A. So that is how we sort also in data sheet view. Then there's also filter, but which normally they don't ask questions regarding filter in database. So take note, they don't ask questions regarding filter in database, grade 12, because when you save it, the filter will also go when you open it again. Now, the total, this is what I was talking about. When you activate the totals, it will allow you to do calculation. You will see the total row. So let's say we want to find average fee. So under the fee, you click there and then you select average so that to calculate the average fee for all of them. That's the total row. Right. So this is all about the data sheet view. Now let's shift our attention to design view. How do you switch it to design view? You will see this tab here or this icon here called design view. This is data sheet view. So you can use it to easily change. You go here, design view, you come here, data sheet view. Right. Now, if you want to also change from here, you right click, design view. So now let's move to the next question, which says, change the property of the date ID field so that the user has to enter. I want to emphasize on this. When you see has to enter, that means the property is called required. When you see has to enter or must, or it should not be left empty, there are three words that you should look out for. Has to enter, must, or it should not be left empty. That is required. Now, so we go to the ID. Let's check whether we have opened that's the meetings. Date ID. Yes, date ID. Unfortunately, I don't see date ID here. We have devices. Okay, let me type date ID. Now, when you say has to enter, when you click on it, you see the property, field properties here, and then you look for required. Then you choose yes. There's a drop down for yes. So required, then you select yes. Right. So that's how we choose has to enter. Now change the property of the speaker field. Let me see if I took the right one. Oh no, sorry. I chose wrong one. It's a meetings. So this date ID, then required, we choose yes. And then the next question says, change the property, a property of the speaker field so that the user cannot enter more than 25 characters. So you see here, they have changed the way they frame the question. Cannot enter, that means the field size. So meaning the field size should be 25. So you go to speaker and then you change the field size to 25. You change the field size to 25. Right. So basically, that's how we change the format. You see the field size. Then the next question, add a field with the name photo between the speaker field and then the topic field. Now the new field is called photo and it should be between the speaker and then the topic field. So you can see there's a topic field here and then the speaker. Now, the easier way to solve this question, because it's between the speaker and then the topic field, that means that it's going to replace the topic. You right click and say insert rows, then you're going to have a space. Then you type photo. Then this field must be able to store a digital image. Now, because the field is to store a digital image, it cannot be short text. So the best field type should be OLE object, because it's going to store multimedia, that's images. So we choose OLE object. Now, let's say maybe in examination you made a mistake and then you inserted it here. And then you chose OLE object. Now, you can also drag it to that position. To drag it, you click on this side and then you hold down your mouse, then you drag it to the position. So meaning you can change the positions of different fields by clicking next to it, then you can drag it to that position. So take note of that aspect. They can ask you that type of question also in prep or final examination. Now, change the properties of the distance field so that the value in this field will be displayed with 1 decimal place in datasheet view. Now, we are changing it so that it will be displayed 1 decimal place. So we go to distance field. And then here, the format should not be general. Okay, it's a number there. Then the decimal place is 0, so we change it to 1. Now, sometimes if it keeps on changing, the best format is to make it to be a fixed one, this one. When you choose fixed, it's going to give you a fixed number of decimal place. So here, when you want it to be always 1, you change the format to fixed, and at the decimal place, you choose the right decimal place. Right, now the next question says, a user cannot enter a value less than 3 or greater than 30. That means it should be from 3. You see, it cannot enter. So you must also watch out for questions like this in database, the negative aspect whereby they negate the question. So here it says cannot enter a value less than 3, meaning that the values to be entered should be from 3, and then it shouldn't be greater than 30. That means from 3 up until 30. So this one also, we use validation rule. Validation rule, and then we start with between 3 and 30. Between 3 and 30. Now, when you say between 3 and 30, that means from 3 to 30. Or we could have just said also, that question could have just said greater than 2 and less than 31. But I will always advise you to use between. It's very easy. We could have also said greater than or equals to 3 and less than or equals to 30. So any of these is right answer for that particular question. Right, the next question. Change the properties of the claim field so that the field is displayed as shown when a new record is added. Now you can see here, when a new record is added, there's a tick. So let's check. Claim field is yes and no. Now there should be a tick. We see true or false. So you can choose yes and no. or on and then off. So here it chose yes and then no. Then you see, oh, they said it should always be tick. Let's check the question again. So that it's displayed when the new record is added. That means it should always be tick. That is yes. So we don't need to change this yes and no. That true or false. We just have to choose the default value to be yes. That means it should always be tick when a new record is added. Should be yes. Right. So yes and no having the tick, then the default value is yes. All right. So the data type is yes and no. And this one should be yes. That means a new record is added. So we don't need to change this part. I think it was already true or false. We leave it as it is. And then the default is yes. Then you can also set the validation rule for it if the question requires you to also do that. Right. Now the next question says, remove the re-embed field. We have to remove this, so you right click and choose delete rows. The code for each meeting is made up of as follows. So there's a code that we need to create, or the code is already there, and then it should be made up of the following: 3 compulsory letters, of which only the first is uppercase, followed by 2 compulsory digits, followed by a single letter, and the example is given to you over there. So now, if we go back to the input mask character sheet, we said 0 is required digit, 9 is optional digit, hashtag is optional digit and space, but the hashtag allow for plus and minus. 0 does not, 9 doesn't allow for plus and minus. Right. So you can see example here. Plus, it mostly when you choose hashtag, you can cater for even a cell phone number. L is a required letter from A to Z. Like for instance, 2L, it will give like AB. Then the question mark is optional letter. Like if you put the question mark, the first L here is A, and these question marks are optional. Either you type it or you leave it. Capital A is a required digit or letter. You can take letter or a number. Small a is optional digit or letter. Right, so you must know this. And then ampersand and then C. Ampersand is any character or space. And then capital C is optional any character or space. Then the greater than forces all characters to be in uppercase. Less than forces everything to be in lowercase. Then, if you put the forward slash, escape the next character, then it treats it literally like this one. So basically, you must know this. 0 goes with L, 9 and then question mark are optional. 0 and L are required, and then less than and control to capitalize different, whether to change capital letters or small letters. So this question here is a 3 compulsory letter. So let's go to the code field. Then input mask, 3 compulsory letter, we put 3L. And it says of which only the first is uppercase. So only the first, so we put greater than before the first one. And the next two, we put less than to make it to be lowercase. Then two compulsory digits, we put two zeros. And then a single letter entry optional. So this is a letter that is optional. So we put question mark. And then they gave you an example. So basically, this should be the input mask. This should be the right input mask. The three compulsory letters are these, but then only the first one should be capital. That's why I put the greater than. Then the next two are lowercase. That's why I put less than here. And then the two digits, which is required, and optional letter also. So this is the best or the right answer for that particular question. Now, the next question, change the existing input mask of the code field to ensure that the user enters the data in this field in the correct format as indicated above. So the same question. Add a primary key to any suitable field except the description field. Now let's look at it. They don't want us to add it to description. Why is it not supposed to be for description? Because it's note. Right, now we can add it to field. A primary key should have the following. Whenever you get a question for primary key, you should take note of this. A primary key should be unique. A primary key should not be empty. So it should be a unique field, meaning that you cannot have duplicates, and it should not be also empty. So that's the first thing you must check before you set up a primary key so that it doesn't give you an error in examination. Now let's go here and check. We have date ID. We have the speaker. The photo cannot be primary key. Maybe the photos can be the same. The topic, they say remove the description. Distance can be the same. It cannot be. And then the code, there shouldn't be any empty space. So the best one is the code. The best one is the code because the date, if you look at the description, date of the meeting, it can be duplicated. So you right click and then you choose primary key. So that is how we set a primary key to a field. Right, now edit the single record in the table by copying the full content of the text file for forensics to the description field for this record. First, change the data type of the description field. Now, they said we must add something there. Now, let's take a look at it, whether we can find a for forensic. So this one must be taken. We have to copy it. Now we are going to paste it. And we can only paste it in the datasheet view. Now, look at the description. It says short text. But because this content is going to be a lot, there's a lot of text. Remember, short text should not be more than 255. Now, this is going to be more than 255 characters. So we have to change it to a long text, or in the lower version, we call it memo. So we change the data type to long text. Then we can now add this one as our description. Right. So that is what that question wanted us to do. Now, the next one talks about calculations. Add a calculator field called comment that will display the message old employer if the person is 60 years and above, otherwise new employer. So now we are talking about the age. And we have age here. It's not this one. That question refers to club members. So we have to open the club members. That is where we have the age. The age join is there. So we go to club members, then we put our calculation called comment. Now, to do calculations, we change it from short text to calculated, and then you put your calculations here. Now, how do we do this calculation? The question says, if the member's age is more than 60, then we say the age joined is more than 60 years, then we say old employer, otherwise we make it new employer. So now, we start by typing if statement is double if. If 60 years is less than the age join. Now, I'll explain why I put the number first, because I've realized that new versions of the Office and even some of the older ones, you struggle if you want to go the normal way. If you put a field like age greater than 60, is going to give you error message. So I'll advise you to put the number first. They said age is greater than 60. So you see where that age is, then it's greater than 60. So the number first, then comma. You put a message, old employer. Don't forget to put it in inverted comma, then comma, new employer. Then you close it. Right. And then we go back and then check. So this one is new employer because it's 51 years. Now let's see some of the old employers, 67 years. So that's why it's written as old employer. So if I make it to be 61, it will still be old employer. Right. So that's how we do if statement in database table. You can do so many calculations there. You can do left. You can do, that's the text function. You can do text function. You can do any calculation there. Now, please, so I want you to take note so that you don't make this mistake. If it was spreadsheet or if it was a normal one, we were going to change it, but here we put the number first, otherwise it's going to give you error message. Now, because the question said if the age join is more than, so is the 60 less than the age join, then you put your calculations there. Now, let's take a look at another one. Let's say the code one. This time I want to do calculations like text function. Maybe the left of the name or the left of the device, comma 3. And then we use the ampersand the same way that we do in spreadsheet. And let's say the date of birth, the birth date. So we can use the text function left, len, right function, and all of them to create a code also. So watch out for that. We can also do the normal calculations like multiply by this. You are increasing an amount. Let's say we want to increase the fee by 40%. There's a vet. To calculate the vet, we can just go to calculated and then we say 15 divided by 100 times fee. You double click on it and then okay. So that will calculate the vet value for us. Right. So basically, that's how we do calculations in a table. Now, let's take another question of the table. Then we move straight to queries. So if you look at this table, it's also similar. Displaying in capital letters, you put greater than. Okay, let's look at the quiz. and then also do that. Then we move straight to 5 usage. There's also a question that I'm interested with. Yeah, I want us to close all the gaps. Some of the questions, if we have tackled it before, I will jump it, then you do it so that we don't spend more time on this. So I'll move straight to 4 quiz. For the quiz. Now it says adjust the properties of the name field so that it contains maximum of 40. Don't forget, we are opening the results table and we are going to adjust to the name field so that we make it to be 40. Then the next question says display in capital letters. So meaning the format we put greater than. When they say display in capital letters, you put greater than under the format. If they say display it in the lowercase, you put less than. Make sure that the date field will always or will display the current date every time a new field is added. So the date field must display the current date every time the new field is added. That's very, very important. Whenever you see this, every time a new field is added, that means we are talking about the default value. We are talking about the default value. So here we go to the default value. And now the current date, we can use date or we can say now. Now, bracket open, bracket close. We don't use today in the table. Today in database table doesn't work. We use now, or you can say date. Then the next question, add the field name mark between the name and then the date field to store the final mark for each learner. It's similar between the name and then the date field. So meaning we have to add mark here. You right click and choose row, insert rows. Then we can type mark. And then the mark will store numbers. So we choose number. Then it says assign a suitable data type for the mark field, which is the number. Please don't forget, like this question here. The question says mark with that one that says with Afrikaans name. So you have to type as you see. So mark underscore. Yeah, mark and then including the Afrikaans name, you must type it as you see. Right. Set the primary key on the suitable field. So here the primary key obviously will be the learner ID or the code. But now check here. We have to verify. We need to verify here the learner ID and then the code. The learner ID has something, so we need to make it to be the primary key. The code doesn't have a primary key, so it says the code of the test written duplicate exists, so we cannot make the code as the primary key. Always also check from the description. It will guide you which one should you choose the primary key for. Then the input mask, 3 digits for the code field. So 3 digits, so we put 3 zeros followed by a hyphen. Don't just type the hyphen. You must put it in inverted comma because it's a character. And then followed by 3 letter characters in capital case or uppercase. So you put greater than 3L as you see in the example. So sometimes also they can give you the example only. So you can see these are three letters, and this is hyphen, and then ABC, which is the capital letters. Right. Then we go to donation field, that any amount more than or equal to 500 will be accepted. So donation field, any amount more than or equals to 500 will be accepted. So we put greater than or equals to 500. Or you can say greater than 499. Yeah, that means it's starting from 500. We can choose greater than. Here, we cannot use between because we don't know where it is starting from. We don't have the start value. So we cannot use between. Right. Then insert appropriate text for the above mentioned rule. So the validation greater than or equal to 500. And then the validation text, sorry, I put it in the wrong place, should be always mention the field name. Donation amount should be from 500 and above. Accepted. So you must always mention the field name first before you put the rule. Don't say between, just say from. And you can sometimes get it from the question paper. Donation field amount. Don't say equals to, otherwise they are going to penalize you. Say from 500 are accepted. Right, data type for the amount field to display in decimal place. So we go to the amount field. The data type cannot be short text. It should be currency. And then it should be in 2 decimal place. Right. Then also insert a record. As you can see. Now, where do we insert the record? We insert record in datasheet view. And this same question is telling us to sort, change the background color, and then change the fill effect with sunken. So here we can go back to datasheet view. And then we enter that record. As you can see, you enter it here. So take note of that also. Right, now they say we must open the questionnaire and fly table. So you double click, and then they are asking us to change the cell formatting. Like I said, you can say cell formatting or format cell. It should be sunken. Background color to be yellow, alternate to red. So background color should be yellow, alternate background color to be red color. And then the cell effect to sunken. And then we should change the row height to standard height and sort it according to level. So row height, you right click, row height, it should be standard. That means we take standard height, and then also we sort according to the level. So here is the level field. You go there and then you choose ascending order. Right, so basically, this is what this question wanted us to do. It basically covered almost all aspects in database table. The only aspect that was not covered is I think index with duplicate, and then also yeah, I think that's the only one that it didn't cover. Other than that, this question covered almost all aspects in database table. Right. So we will move on. All these questions have been repeated. So you can see add a photo, sort, and all these. insert a calculated field called code that will extract the first four characters of the water activity in uppercase. So I think that's the only one that I will just check. I will go straight there and do that one, 5 water usage. The rest are easy. So I'm only going to focus on the calculations there. Please don't forget to add your comments. Yeah, someone is asking about the session. We are covering all the database. We won't be long. Can you hear me now again? All right. I'll come back to you. If you have any comment and you cannot hear me, just also, yeah, let me check my. All right. Thank you so much for responding to it. Now, we are moving straight up to this calculated field, the code, and then these totals. Then I will just move straight to queries. Table is the one that takes a lot of time, but queries, report, and then the form will not take us so much. And then after this video, I will break them down to become shorter versions also. I'm going to separate the table from the queries and from the form so that when you are watching, you know which one you are doing. Now, I will move straight to 5 activity or the water usage. It says insert a calculated field called code that will extract the first four characters of the water use activity. So we go there and then the name should be called code. And then the data type will be calculated. Now the first four characters, we use the function called left. So left of what water use activity, how many characters you put comma 4. And the question says your answer should be in uppercase. The answer should be in uppercase. So for answer to be in uppercase, we use another function called uCase. Remember in spreadsheet, we say upper and then lower, but here we use uCase. So you go just before the left function, you just type U, then you see uCase. If you say L, then that lowercase. And then we close the bracket. So this one will calculate the first four characters from here and then convert it into uppercase. Right. Now, we move straight to the next calculated field, that's total. That will add all the 7 days activity. So the function name is total, and the data type is called calculated. So we are adding all this day 1 up to day 7. So you double click on day 1, say plus day 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 7. Right. So it's going to calculate and add all of them for you. So this is all about the calculated field. Now, let's move straight. If there's no question, I will move straight. You can try all these questions. When you get this data, try to do all these questions. They follow the same trend. Like this one here, they gave the validation text, so they wanted the rule. So here the rule will be habitat into inverted comma or escape it. So you just choose that one. So you can go through them. Right. And then this one aspect that I think we did not cover is the input or the combo box. The combo box. Like you see here, combo box, we needed to add a combo box so that we can type the options. And this one also, all the promises should have a combo box. I think I will only pick that part before I move on. The rest are the same. It's only combo box. So I will pick 5 cities, or without even doing, I'll use the same data so that we don't waste more time on the combo box. Now, let's say we have a new field. We have a new field called cities. Now, if you want to change this city so that there will be an option to choose from, you change the data type name to lookup wizard. Now, there are two options. If you are to select the value from another table, you choose the first part. That's it. I want the lookup field to get the values from another table. Now, if we are going to type it ourselves, we choose this one. I will type in the values. Then you type the values here. Now, I realized that this year or last year question paper, they brought the two columns, the number of columns. So if the columns are 1, that is vertical. Now, we can change it to be 2 columns or 3 columns. Now, when I change it to 2 columns, column 1 will be the city name. Let's say Freiburg, Cape Town, Pretoria. Now, if you want to know the province of that one, Freiburg is Northwest, Cape Town, Western Cape, Pretoria, G. Now, you go to next and then you finish. Let's go and check it. You see that when you go there, cities, it shows you in 2 columns. Freiburg coming from Northwest. So when you want to have it in 2 columns, that is how we do the lookup wizard. Watch out for this type of questions also. They can give you a screenshot like this, then they tell you to work on it like that. So use the lookup wizard and then you select 2 columns. Right. They can also edit it when you go to lookup. You see combo box with value list, Northwest, Freiburg, Northwest, Cape Town, Western Cape. But then the trick is here. Column count should be 2. If the column count is 1, that means all of them are going to be in one particular. So if I change this one to be 1, let's look at it. They are all going to be 1. Freiburg, Northwest, Western Cape. But the moment I change it, so you can get a question that like this, and then they tell you to make it to be in 2 columns. To move Northwest, Western Cape, and then the province. So here you change the column count to 2. Then to go back to the normal one. Right, so that is all about database table. Now let's straight away move to queries. So we are done with the database table questions. All these are database table. Now to get a queries questions, when you open the folder database files, you will see queries and forms. So we are going to use that one also. And then finally, the last one will be the report. So queries, the criteria, you must take note of them. You read them. Let's start with the first question. For participants. It says create the following 2 queries based on the participant table. The principal needs a list with names of learners which will help them with marketing. Only the surname, the name, the grade must be displayed. Only the participant with the skills of marketing and which has internet access must be included. So now we are going to create a new query. When you are creating a query, you don't have to open the table. Sometimes you might get confliction and then error message. So you go to create and then you choose query design. Query design. Then it will show you the tables, the links, the queries, and all of them. Now here, We are focusing on the table. According to the question, our query must be based on the participant table. You double click. Now, in case in examination you make a mistake and you double click on it twice, just remove one by right clicking and then you choose remove table. Now, it says the principal needs a list of names of learners that will help him with marketing. And we need to display the surname, name, and grade. So you double click on surname, you double click on name, and you double click on grade. To choose them, you can also click and select them from here. Only the people with the marketing and then also internet access. But then let's switch to datasheet view. When you go there, we don't see marketing. Let me remove the colors so that I can see properly. We don't see any marketing. So what do we do? Where can we find the marketing? So in that case, open the table and check where do you see the marketing. That is under the skills and the internet access, yes and no. So meaning we need to include also internet access and we need to include the expertise. Then when we run again, now we will see them. Right. Now I want us to make our work easier. We are looking for marketing. And how do they type marketing here? It's marketing. Now, what I will advise you is that we use the wild cards. We are using asterisk to represent something. So we can say asterisk to represent, then say market, type MAR, and then asterisk again. That means it includes the three letters MAR. Your work will be easier in the examination. Learners, when you put the star and then you pick the three characters that the question is asking for, and then you close it also. That means it includes. So here we are going to put under the expertise star MAR star. And then the internet access, yes and no. So you put yes. We run it. So this is what we got. So make use of this wildcard. The work will be easier whenever you are creating queries. Right, we move straight to the next one that says, right, it says we should not include them, even though we use them, but we are not going to include it. So we must untick these two to remove them. And then the next one says, the grade 11 committee needs a list of participants who do not have email. So we have to create that one. We are creating another one for those who do not have email. So we go to create, query design. Now we need the names, surnames, grade, and we need email. Now when we move straight to the datasheet view, some people do not have email. They are empty spaces. Now the criteria for that, we use null. Like I said, null. Null. You don't have to type it's null, just null. It means display empty spaces. If you say not null, if I type not null, it means those who provided their email address. So take note of that while that criteria also for database. Null means empty, not null means what? Not empty. Now, we want for only grade 11. So we put here for the grade to be 11. So the grade should be 11. Now, what if the question says excluding grade 11? Then we put less than and greater than 11. That means not. It will show all other grades except 11. So we use less than and greater than symbol. So take note, null means what? Empty. Now, if you say excluding, you put less than and greater than. That means excluding grade 11. Right, so that is all about that question. You can try your hands in all these other questions also. Now, I'm moving straight to other queries that involves, or that is a bit challenging. I'm going to pick for comp club, which we have seen it before. For comp club. Right. Now, according to the question, we must create a query called QRY4 underscore 2 based on the club members. Okay, here they say do not have email. It's the same thing, so I'm not going to repeat that. I'll only move to this one. The query must show all records of members who were younger than 21 years and when they joined the club. The query must also show all records of members who have more than 2 devices, irrespective of the age they join, and ensure that the youngest member appears at the top, that is first in the datasheet view. So 4 underscore 3, we right click and then choose design view. Now, the first part, the question says we should display all those who are younger than 21. Now, that is the age join. The criteria you put less than 21. The query must also show all records of those who have more than 2 devices. Good. Irrespective of the age at which they join. So here, we cannot put 2 devices here. We can't type 2 here. Otherwise, it is called and. That means those who are less than 21 and also 2 devices. But this side, it says irrespective of the age at which they join. That means either they are less than 21 or, so we move to the next row, which is or 2 device also. So we don't put any age here. Or we can just put the age here, not 21. Or maybe greater than or less than 21 is also fine. So here we can also put greater than or equals to 21. Or we can just leave it as it is. There we go. So 2 devices and then irrespective of the age. Then again, it says the youngest must appear first. So here we can just delete this one here. The youngest must appear first. That means the age join will choose sort in ascending order. And then the query 4 underscore 4 also, they say we must add the group field to the query. So this is 4 underscore 4. We must add the group field. You double click on group. And then the query must show all records of members whose surnames start with letter from N to Z. Good. So all those whose surnames start with letter N to Z. The criteria we type between N and Z. That means the surname starts from N to Z. We use between. Then again, those who joined the club before 2018. Before 2018. So the join date before 2018, that means less than the first date of 2018, which is the 1st of January. So less than 01/01/2018. You don't have to put the hashtag, it will be there automatically. All right, let's check here the join. A to Z. Let's see the join. Yeah, the join is a date. So A to Z work there. And here should be before 2018. But you can see that all of them are 2018 here. Hence, we got 0. We got 0. Because all of them are in 2018. Right. So basically, this is how you're supposed to do. That's less than 01/01/2018. So it's the right one. We are getting 0 because when we check, nobody joined before 2018. All of them were within 2018. So that is all about the queries. You must try your hands in most of these queries. Now I'm going to do calculated field and then aggregate function. Calculated field in queries and then aggregate function. So I'm going to take 5 inventory and then I do that question. 5 inventory. Right, the first question talks about open the query 5.3 and then we should insert a calculated field called profit. So the query 5_3, you right click and choose design view. Now, if you are to do calculation, you go to the next empty space. There are so many empty spaces. You go to the next one, you right click and choose build. Now we are familiar with the expression builder. We are going to do the calculation here. Now the question says should be called profit. Profit will be the selling price. We double click on selling price minus the cost. And then you click OK. As soon as you click OK, run and check, we see the profit given to us here with the EXPR1, expression 1. So we need to change the EXPR1. Don't forget, you should not delete the column. You delete only the EXPR1 and then you type profit. So the profit will be the new calculated field. Right. Now the next one says we must open 5_4. And then we create a list to display the t-shirt product that have less than 5 items in stock or any other product with 15 or more items in stock. Now, so they said in stock should be less than 5. So we go to in stock criteria, we put less than 5. We run to see. Now, it said the t-shirt product. That means the product with t-shirt. And look at t-shirt. It doesn't come with only t-shirt. We have the planet t-shirt and we have the rocket launch t-shirt. So you don't know which one to type here. But then they include t-shirt. So that is why I told you must use wildcard. You put star T-SH star. It's still fine. Or shirt. Star t-shirt star, which will only pick t-shirt for us. Star t-shirt star. Let's check once more. Star T shirt star. Maybe the spelling, you have to be careful about the spelling also. T-shirt is dash. If you are getting it wrong there, you can just copy that aspect. All right, star shirt star. There should be something wrong at my end here. Let me just, because it says it includes. Oh, sorry, I put it at the wrong one. It should be the product. I put it at the wrong one. It should be star T dash shirt star. Good. Yeah, you see, we can make a mistake. You must check so that you don't make this simple mistake like I just made. You must check the field you are putting the criteria. You can see that I was putting it under cost instead of product. So you have to check it carefully. Star T dash shirt star. And then the in stock should be less than 5. There we go. We got 2. And then again, the question says, or any other product with 15 or more. So we move straight to or. When you say or, then you put greater or equals to 15 for in stock. That means other products that are not t-shirt. Any other product that are not t-shirt. Right, so all in all, we got 28. So greater or equal to 15 or less than 5, and then the product should be t-shirt. That is all about this. Let's try and check other questions available that are more challenging. Like this one, 5_5. Like I told you, this is the structure of the database query. You also come across queries that involves aggregate function, like you see here, queries that involve aggregate function. So you come across this. Now you see this, it says category and then the sum of. So let's go to 5_5. Now we have product, inventory, and then category. But then from the question, category should be the first one, meaning we need to change this to category. And then the next one, inventory value, but there's no category again, only 2. So we have the category and inventory. But that's not what we have here. We see the category and then sum of inventory value. That means they perform what we call the total or aggregate function because of the function attached to the inventory value. So what do we do here? We must activate the totals. You get it under the query design. You will see totals. When you click on it, it's going to give the total row. Now, the group by here, we leave it because we are grouping according to category. Then we change this one under the inventory value because there's a function attached to it called sum. Then we change this group by to sum of inventory value. There we go. Right. Now you can see that the puzzle was first with a 15, followed by 16, 17. That means there was something like sorting. They sorted according to the sum of from lowest to lowest to highest. Because our final answer here started 29 is first. So we need to change it, sort sum of inventory value in ascending order so that we'll see it properly as we see from the screenshot. Always when you get the screenshot, look at the details. Don't just do it and so this is just an easy thing. Check the details, what they did. Right, they can even ask you to also change this one into decimal place. So you right click and then you choose properties, then format, you choose fix, and then you can now set the decimal place. Right, so that is all about the aggregate function. So I would like you to take note of some of these questions. They always ask 3 questions like that. Like this one, add a calculated field called score difference to find the difference between the two. You must look out for some of these questions. Like this one also, there was something like if statement. I'm going to look at that. Then we move straight to forms. This question is about 5 animals. Now, there was a query given. It said create a query named QRY5 underscore 5. Okay, let's start with the first one. Open the query 5 underscore 3. Modify the query to create a list of all animals that originated from Africa. So we check 5 underscore 3. Now, all those that originated from Africa and belong to carnivore group. So where can we find Africa? Just run and check. We can find Africa under the origin, and the carnivore will be from group. You must always run it to check where you can identify your criteria. So under the origin, Africa, we say AF star, or we can say star AF star. That means it includes AF, and that is only Africa. Then the carnivore, star CAR star. Carnivore. Then we are done. Just use this method. It's very easy. You put a star and then you put the first 3 letters and then the star again. Then you'll be able to solve these questions easily. Then again, display only the animal and status. That means we don't want to display the origin. You must untick, and you must untick the carnivore, also the group. Right, that is that question. The next question talks about 5 underscore 4. So we open 5 underscore 4 in design view, and it says modify the query to display the list of animals with the status endangered. So where do you find status? Here it's very clear here. How do they type the endangered? It's just one word. There's critically endangered also. Okay, only endangered, and then the lifespan should be less than 20. Right. So we go to status, endangered, star, END star. Run and check. We got it, but then we got critically endangered also. And then endangered. So meaning this particular one, we have to type it in full. Otherwise, it's going to also get us critically endangered. So here we can type endangered only. Then also the lifespan should be, they say the lifespan should be less than 20. You put less than 20. And then it says all. where no population size has been captured. Run and see, where do we find population size? Is here. No population size has been captured. That means empty. So you go to all. It should not be on the same row. Or you go to the next one. No population size. That means null. Good. So this is how we are supposed to get this question done. Then the last part is the query 5_5. And then they say we must create it based on TBL animals. So you go to create, query design. Now you can see here, it took us to queries. So we must come to tables, TBL animals. And then it says, display the average lifespan of animals according to their group. Format the result to display one decimal place. I like this question. Average lifespan. We must highlight it. According to the keyword here, according to their group. Very, very important. Now, when you see according to, for each pair, when you see these three words here, inquiries, and there's calculation. With a calculation, that is also calculated field. And that one is part of the aggregate function. So then you know that it's aggregate function. Then you know it is aggregate function. So meaning the question wants us to find average lifespan according to each group. That means we have to select group first and then also lifespan. Only the two. Then for each group, we activate the totals. Then you see group according to group by. And then the lifespan, we change the group by to average, AVG. There we go. So this is how it's supposed to be. AVG of lifespan according to each group. So it's going to calculate the carnivore, their average lifespan, the herbivore, their average lifespan. Now, if the question we might change to decimal place, like I told you, you just right click, go to properties, change it to fix the format, and then the decimal place, we change it to 2. Right. So that is how we do this type of calculation. This brings the end of queries. I think we have done a lot regarding queries. We have done a lot. Right. There was a calculation also here. That is the form. We will come to this same question. If there's no question, we will move straight to forms. And then we finalize with report. I'm not going to spend time on forms and then report. Forms and report do not need a lot to be done. So I'm going to use the same data, which is the 5 animals. And it says we should open the FRM 5_2 based on the TBL animals table in design view. Modify the form so that it appears as follows. Now you can see the form has been displayed as follows. You right click and choose design view. Now, as you can see here, the group, there are options to select from, which is carnivore, herbivore, and then omnivore. So we go to group. This is the label. This is the field. So we always focus on the field when we need to add values. So sometimes it could be only text box, then you can change it to combo box. You right click, you see change to, let's say it was text box. So if your text box, you see combo box, then you choose combo box. Right, now this one has been changed to combo box already. How do we add those values? When you select it, it's going to give the property sheet name. Then you see data. Then here, the row source, the question didn't ask us to pick from another table unless we check. It says it should display as follows. That means we have to type the values. So the row source type, we choose value list, and then we type the values here. You can click on the three dots under the row source, then you type the value. They are already there: carnivore, herbivore, omnivore. So you type them also. Right. And then the next question. The average lifespan of the animal is 25 years. Insert a formula in the text box in the footer section to determine whether an animal lifespan is more than the average lifespan. Display your answer as yes or no format. Do not use if statement. So here, we don't have to use if statement. We have to use the logical functions. Now, here is the calculation in the header section. We must check whether it's a text box. Sometimes they can deceive you and it's a label. You can't do calculations in a label. But then you see unbound. So you are going to do calculation here. You right click and choose build event. That's how we do calculations in form. Build event after you insert a text box. Build event. Now you can see the formula here. Lifespan. I think this question was done already, but you can check. Then look for lifespan. And do not choose, here's the lifespan. Double click on lifespan greater than 25. Only that lifespan greater than 25. Then in the form, you must select and say copy. Use Control C to copy. Control plus C. When you try to right click, it won't give you that option. Then you click OK. You come and put the formula here by pressing equal sign and then Control V. So let's run it and see. Now you see this one here, true or false. It gives us 0. That is false. So we have to go and change it to true or false. When you click, there's a format for your formula there that you must go and check. Go to format, and then the visible is yes, the decimal. So the format should be yes and no. Yes and no. There we go. So we needed to change the format to yes and no. Right. Then the next question also, oh, that's all about this question. That is all about that question. Now, we move straight to another form. This time, I want us to focus on 5 inventory. This form, they gave a screenshot, and then they want us to do 1 or 2 things in the form. So we open the 5 inventory once more. Right, so you right click on the form and choose design view. Now, look at this. The size of the logo is 5 centimeter by 3 centimeter. That means we have to insert a logo. And look at where the logo is. It's on the left-hand side. The name of the logo, I don't know whether it was given to us, but let's see. How do we add the logo? We can insert it as image or just a logo. Or you can just say insert image. There we go. Then we draw it here. Let me take this one from here. You drag it. Good. Now, the moment you insert image, please check the property sheet. If it's not there, just right click and choose properties. Then you'll see from here, that image, you'll see the size mode. If we wanted to fill in all the spaces, the size mode we choose stretch, then it filled the box for us. We can also put the border style of the image, let's say solid with a width of 3pt. They can ask you that. They can also ask you to change the size. Like this question, it says the height should be, and then the width 5 centimeter by 3, meaning the width should be 5 and then the height should be 3 centimeters. Right, so they can ask so many questions. They can even tell you it should not be visible when you go that side. So you click on it, the visible, you say no. It can ask you that question. So even though I've inserted, but when I come to form view, it's not there. So that is it for the visible. You must watch out for that. You can also check the hyperlink. They can ask you to hyperlink this one to a website. When you select the picture, you see link address, then you click on this 3. Let's say I want to link it to 3 forensic. You can click a hyperlink to it. So watch out for the property sheet. There are so many things that they can ask you to do. Right. The next one is this. An input mask was added to the cell number so that the data is captured in the correct format. Now look at this. There is an input mask added. Now you see +27 with a number without a 0 was added. So we have to go to cell phone number, property sheet, then you go to data. You are going to find input mask. You are going to find default value. You are going to find validation rule and validation what? Text. So watch out for this. They can ask you questions under all these, under what we call the data. Right, so the input mask, it has the 0. You can click on this so that you go and type, or you can just do it yourself here. +27 first. So you put inverted comma, +27. And then followed by 9 digits because there's no 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each digit is represented by 0. So that's how we put input mask. They can also ask you to put validation rule. So please watch out for some of these questions. Again, action button. They can ask you to put an action button. Let's say this question wants us to put an action button. From the form design, you see action button. You click on it. It can be on the header or footer. So we can choose whether record operation, form operation, depending on what the question wants you to choose. So we can choose form operation, for instance, close form. We can give you a picture to use or just a text, and then you finish. So that there will be a close form action button. And like we said also, we can also put conditional formatting. There can be conditional formatting also in database form and then report. Now, they can also ask you to put background image. Let's say you want to put background image. You go to format, you see background image. There we go. Or you can fill a particular one with another color. You right click, fill or back color. You choose the color. So these are the things that they can ask you in form. Form is just, I always say, is a collectible mark in database that you must be able to get all the marks. It doesn't take time to do some of these questions. And if it is about calculations, you know what to do. Let's say we needed to add some calculations. Also, you go to form design. You use the text box. to draw it. Like I said, you right click, build event, expression builder. Then you put your calculations here. So let's say we wanted to find, uh, there was a vet that we needed to do some calculations in this table. Okay, so 15%, 15, 15 over 100 times, let's say this salary. Now, like I said, it will not show here. So you must always do copy. You select Control C. You come and put it here in the expression builder. Control V. Right. So that you can do calculations also. They can also ask you to put date and time from the form design. If you don't know where to find, you can just type date and time. It will show you insert date and time. Only time or only date. To include only time or include only date. Right. So that is how we do forms. There are so many questions that you can try your hands on. All these are forms also, like this one. There's a current date, you choose date and time, and then you select it. Right. Conditional formatting, you right click and choose conditional formatting. So that is all about forms. Now let's move straight and then we wrap up with the report. Yeah, so all this, you can see here the logo validation rule. This one, they ask for validation rule. So you have to say between. So you must look out for that. Between that and that for validation rule. Right. This one has the closed form and then hyperlink, like the one we just did, inserting a hyperlink to a name or to an image, how you must insert it. You have to also look at for such. Good. So that is all about forms. Now we move straight to report. I'm going to also go back to the report. I will not spend much time, maybe 5 minutes that I'm going to spend on report. So when you go there, you also see report questions. Now the report only involves grouping, sorting, and calculations. Those are the three things that they will ask you about report, and the rest are similar to forms. So I am going to take something that we have used before. Let's say 5 club. Let's use 5 club and then we do, let's use 5 club. Right? So the report, when you are creating a new report, you go to create and then use report wizard. Now, if you are modifying, you right click, design view. Now, according to the question, it says change the grouping to the level field. So it was grouped on days. So to change it, you see there's an arrow and then you choose level. Then again, determine the total amount paid by all the hikers. Determine the total amount paid by. So here we are going to find the total calculation. So where you have group, you select it, then you see more. And then you find it with no totals. There is an arrow there, you select, and they want us to find the totals on amount paid. Total amount, that means the function will be sum, and for all, so we choose show grand total. If they say for each hikers, we choose the last one, show subtotal in group footer. So this question we choose show grand total. Now the calculation will be here in the report footer. Now with this, we can put the label. The label is the one with the A, capital A, small a, and then we can draw it and type total amount. Right. They can also ask you to change the decimal place and all those things. And then the last part, it says, apply conditional formatting to the distance field so that all distances that are not between 6,000 and 8,000 appears with a blue. So those that are not between. So that means it's not just between from those that are not between. So we go to the distance field. It is not this one. The one on the page header is the label. The one in the details section is the text box. That's the one we used. Now, when you right click or when you click on it, you will see conditional formatting under the format. If you don't know where to find it in exam and you are confused, tell me what to do. Type conditional formatting. Then show formatting rules for distance. Then you click on new rule. Field value is. So we choose here, not greater or equals to, or not between. So not between 6,000 and 8,000. Remember, there's also between. And the question says you must be filled with blue. So this is the fill one. Don't forget, don't choose the font color. So we fill it with the blue font and then OK. Then you click on apply and OK. So let's go and check. So all those that are not between that value has been highlighted in blue color. So when you're here, you can go back to design view. Right, so that is all about that question. Let's do the last question regarding the report. Regarding the report, I want her to pick. Let's choose 3 info. 3 info. And then the last one will be the one that we have a screenshot. Now 3 info say we have to create. We have to create so to create a report, or the report is there, you right click and choose design view. Display only name, unit type, days, and amount. Unit type, name, days, and amount. I think this one was created for us. Let me delete it. It was already created. Now the question wanted us to create it. So you go to create report wizard, and then we need to only display the name, unit type, days, and amount. So it should be based on TBL bookings. We need a name, unit type, days, amount. Right. Okay, that's the one that they wanted us to choose. And then they say that then group the field first by the unit type and then by amount field. So here we go to next. We are grouping according to unit type. You double click, and then by amount. You double click on amount also. Then there is also an interesting question here. In the units of 5,000, that means there's a grouping option. So we select the amount, then we go to grouping options. Amount, the interval should be unit of 5,000. Remember the unit type also, we can have first initial, first letter. They can ask you that type of question also. Then we go to next. And then it also has the summaries whereby they can ask us to do calculation. Now let's say this question was to find the total amount. Then we choose amount with the total, whether average amount, you take the average also there. So here we want only the total amount. And then we also have calculate percent of the total of the sum or the summary only. Then okay, you finish it. Right, so that one can also be used to do calculations. Now the calculations will be done here is here. If you go there now, you can see the amount are in 5,000s. The amount are grouped in 5,000, 0 to 5,000, and then 5,000 to 10,000. That's the one that says grouping options. That's how we do it, group options. So imagine they give you this screenshot and then they say do it like this. That means watch out for this. They group according to that. But the moment you see amount by 5,000, meanwhile, we don't have amount by 5,000. That means they chose a grouping option of 5,000. Right. So that is one way of doing report. Now let me check if there's any question. Oh, sorry, somebody said April 2018. I didn't check that one. Yeah. Good. Question also, do you have any previous videos regarding Word and Excel? Yes, I have them. If you go there, I have all the videos on Excel, all the videos on Word. What was left was database. This is the last one. I have videos also on HTML, and I have collectibles. Like all these are collectibles. I will share them on under every single video. You will see the collectible question for that also. Right. Any other question? We are ending here. That is all about the form or the report. I want you to go and try your hands on each of them, like this one here. The group according to um the animal type, like the carnivore. You must check the screenshot also. Like this one, they gave a screenshot, maximum amount of each visitor's cost. And then it was grouped according to the pyramid, the group according to pyramids, as you can see, bent pyramid, buried pyramid. So the grouping was done on pyramid, and then also the cost was calculated under the visitor's cost. So when they give you a screenshot, you must take note of that. Like this, for instance, check which one that they group according to, and then where did they do the calculations also under. Right, they can have conditional formatting. And to go through all this one, they apply conditional formatting. That is for the age that is more than 18 years. And then it was also grouped, and they only displayed them emerald and then others. That means they group according to membership status. So this brings to an end of our lesson. Don't forget to watch the videos again. I'm going to break them down like I promised. And then tomorrow will be question and answer. I will send a link also, whereby any question that you have, you join me for this particular session tomorrow. I will communicate to the group. It will all be question and answer. So bring all your questions. Whatever that you don't understand, bring it, and then we will solve it together. Thank you for your precious time. Good night.